Hi, my name is Dr. Rayshawn Ray, aim to speak truth to power, and this is my daily thought. Mentoring matters. Find one. Be one. Throughout my life, I've been fortunate to have wonderful mentors from the time that I was born. I mean, just even in my family, I've had wonderful mentors. And oftentimes we overlook people who we're related to because we see them in more casual settings. And we don't oftentimes realize the influential impact they can have on our lives, not just for opportunities, but just for life lessons. And I've been fortunate to have that. Growing up in a single parent household, never seeing my biological father before that, that might have been even more important for me to have. And there was something that my mom used to always say. She used to say, I can teach you many things, but I can't teach you how to be a man. Even though I don't necessarily think that was true, her point was that, and I say that because, I mean, my mom taught me, I mean, just extraordinary things. I mean, she is the ultimate mentor and role model. But what her point was is that oftentimes I can't, even though she just said man, she actually meant black man in society. So she put me around certain individuals that I can emulate. From that being my godfather to being my Uncle Pat to being my grandfather, to being Mr. Daryl Hudson in Big Brothers and Big Sisters, who just had a birthday, by the way. Shout out to Daryl Hudson in Atlanta, Georgia, who I got the chance to emulate and see. And this is the thing, you learn various things from different people. From my godfather, Steve Bingham, I learned the importance of giving back, the importance of putting others before yourself, the importance of not worrying about what other people are going to think about it or different sorts of accolades. So one of the things that the After Christmas Challenge by Dock Your Change was inspired by Steve Bingham, who raised in a few hours over $1,000 for a family of 3 children who didn't get anything for Christmas. That is the type of people who I try to emulate. Watching what he did, whether that be at, watching what he did, whether that be at school as a teacher, whether that be working for the city or in the county, working at community centers. I saw the way he interacted with kids and with children and with adults. And that's part of the reason why I think I became an educator and why I value mentoring so much. Mr. Daryl Hudson is an engineer and worked on a railroad. And I saw the type of work that went into that methodically and mathematically and those sorts of things. And just being around him, seeing the way he interacted, his calming spirit, and those sorts of things. And then as I went through school, and we fast forward to college, Dr. Wanda Rushing at University of Memphis, when I changed my major from pre-med to sociology. I had no idea what I was going to do. She said, go pick up a U.S. News and World Report, come back to me with a list of 10 schools. And of course, you can just look up these schools nowadays, but I still tell all of my students that. And that's where that comes from, is Dr. Wanda Rushing. And I came back with a list and she said, no. You need to look at the schools up here on the list. And I was taken aback. And she's part of the reason why I ended up getting into the schools that I got into and going on to Indiana University, where I met Dr. Pam Jackson and Dr. Quincy Stewart and Dr. Brian Powell and others. I mean, Dr. Tim Hallett. I mean, the list could go on and on about the people who served as mentors to me. Even watching Dr. Khalil Muhammad while he was writing his book, the focus he had to write The Condemnation of Blackness, and then leave there and go on to run the Schomburg Center and now be a distinguished professor at Harvard University. These were the people that I was fortunate to be around. And I hope that I've been able to give back in a similar sort of way, taking all of these various skills and giving back, paying it forward in terms of mentoring. In undergrad, I had a mentoring program called the Real Life Knowledge Academy that was actually really inspired by my wife, who was the president of Students Advocating Service. They had a service Saturday where they would go to different places in the city. One of the places they went to was the Memphis Family Shelter. At that shelter, there were single mothers and their children. And these mothers were there for various reasons. It could have been the death of a spouse. It could have been for other financial hardships. It could have been running from abuse. I mean, it could have been a lot of different circumstances, but the way that the shelter was set up was just immaculate. But what I saw were a group of boys, mostly black boys who didn't have role models. So I negotiated it with the person who ran the shelter to come in each week and do mentoring type of opportunities. Then they ended up letting them leave with me, and years go on. And then I had 2 younger alpha brothers who ended up coming up and ended up taking over the mentoring program in Memphis. And I mean, that's the sort of stuff that that we try to do. And that was Arnett and Brandon, who I mean, I'm indebted to for the types of service that they've done, just kind of paying it forward. The point of what I'm trying to make here is real simple. Anyone can be a mentor. And some people say, oh, well, I can't be a mentor. I don't have a good, track record at work, or I don't have a good educational background, or, I've been in trouble with the law. In many respects, you are the exact person who needs to be a mentor, because people can actually learn from other people's mistakes. That was one of the things my mom did. She was very transparent about certain decisions she made and why she made it. And it's part of the reason why I'm really good with money. She would sit down with me and show me in the checkbook, look, we don't have enough money to make it to the end of the month. We are in the red. You need to learn how to be in the black. And so by learning the sorts of decisions she made, also taught me the types of decisions that I should make. And so part of it is owing that. So when I was 24 years old and I purchased my first home, I sent my mother a key, and I was like, this key is for you. This is our home. And part of that is because my mom never owned a home. I mean, we had a lot of housing instability growing up. I think we moved, 14 times by my 18th birthday. But the household that I was in was always safe, and my schools were always constant. And so I definitely owe that to my mom. Part of what happens is you have to find mentors. What I do is I actually think about where I want to be in 10 years. And I say, and then I identify people who I may know, some I may know, some I may not know. And I say, what were they doing when they were my age, when they were at my stage? And I literally put them into an Excel file, and I put them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I say, what were they doing? You know, when I was younger, this would have been when I was 20 or 25 or 30 or 35 and on up 40, 45, 50, 60. What were they doing at those different stages? And then I literally go down and I summarize them, kind of take a mean average. And I say 3 of the 5 were doing X. Well, guess what that means? That means I need to do X. And I want to try to connect to them, because the thing about mentors have to fulfill 4 qualities. First, they have to be positive. Positive is important. Second, they have to be academic. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they are in school or that they have several degrees. No, it simply means that they value education and they value a holistic perspective of learning. Third, they have to be visible. Visible mentors are extremely, extremely important. See, part of what happens in a lot of local communities, there is what I call a brain drain. And in many neighborhoods, it is a black brain drain, where some of the most prepared students, not always the most talented, not always the most intelligent, because I have several friends from my hometown, which is really like a larger city now, one of the largest cities in Tennessee, Murfreesboro, who are extremely intelligent. That doesn't necessarily come along with degrees. Part of it is when opportunity meets the ability for people to actually exert their full potential. And unfortunately for some people, that doesn't happen. I mean, research shows that based on IQ tests, there are geniuses in the hood, in impoverished neighborhoods, who never get to actualize their potential. And that is because of the ineptitude of our education system and the lack of opportunities for mentoring and work in poor communities. And I think these are some of the main problems that we see in Chicago. I mean, people like to talk about the violence and those sort of things. It's really about an assortment of other things. But getting back to this, you have, I'll talk about that on another vlog, but you have the importance of being positive, academic, visible, because oftentimes people aren't visible, and then accessible. It's not just important to see them, but instead it's important to connect to them. These are some of the things that the people at DocuChange and the people at the Young OGs podcast, these are the sorts of things we're trying to do, is to use technology to connect people to actually actualize this 4-part mentoring process. So, as always, conversations matter like Black lives and books. Mentoring matters. Find one. Be one. And implement that into 2017.